Welcome to SGT Times Explainer. I am Sarika Jha. Today we'll review the critical points of the Supreme Court's Article 370 verdict. On Monday, the Supreme Court unanimously upheld the centre's repeal of Article 370 of the Constitution. A constitution bench led by Chief Justice of India D.Y. Chandrachud upheld the constitutional validity of two presidential orders, 272 and 273, issued on August 5 and 6, 2019, respectively, by which the entire Indian Constitution was made applicable to Jammu and Kashmir. Article 370's provisions have all been deemed ineffective. This is what the court stated about four significant points in the government's decision-making dispute. The petitioner maintained that when Jammu and Kashmir joined the Indian Union in 1947, it kept some sovereignty. They said this arrangement was unique from the connection with the other princely kingdoms that had united India. The court reviewed the former state constitutional structure to see if it preserved an element of sovereignty that would allow Article 370 to apply in unusual circumstances. First, it was highlighted that India is a union of states under Article 1 of the Indian Constitution. Article 1 refers to Part 3rd states, and Jammu Kashmir was designated as a Part 3rd state in the first schedule to the Indian Constitution before 2019. Secondly, Section 3 of the Jammu and Kashmir Constitution declares that Jammu and Kashmir are integral part of India. The clause text reads, "Relationship of the state with the Union of India, the state of Jammu and Kashmir is and shall be an integral part of Union of India." Any modification to Section 3 was barred under Section 147 of the Jammu Kashmir Constitution. The court ruled that these clauses contradict the idea that a merger agreement was required for Jammu and Kashmir to relinquish its sovereignty. It was pointed out that when Yuvraj Karan Singh issued the proclamation accepting the Indian Constitution on November 25, 1949, it virtually amounted to a merger with any other princely state. The declaration that the Constitution of India would not only supersede all other constitutional provisions in the state that were inconsistent with it, but also abrogate them achieves what an agreement of merger would have achieved. The CJI wrote in his opinion, which was also noted for Justice B.R. Gawai and Suryakant. However, in his concurring judgment, Justice S.K. Kaul stated that despite Maharaja Hari Singh signing the instrument of accession with India, Jammu Kashmir preserved an element of domestic sovereignty. He emphasized the acknowledgement of this domestic autonomy in Article 370, which recognized the state constituent assembly. However, this does not influence Justice Kaul's conclusion. Various arguments were presented before the court on the permanence or lack thereof Article 370. The petitioner said the clause could not be repealed because it had become permanent, and since the original component of the Constitution constituted the core framework, which cannot be changed. Senior barrister Kapil Sibal claimed that because 370 requires the advice of the state constituent assembly, which no longer exists, to repeal Article 370, its repeal fundamentally infructuous. This implies that once the Jammu Kashmir Constituent Assembly ceased functioning, there were no constitutional methods to repeal Article 370. The CJI and Justice Kaul stated that Article 370 was always intended as a temporary element because Article 370 is designed to be a transitory arrangement. Justice Kaul decided that the process under Article 370 could not be considered to have ended when the State Constituent Assembly was dissolved. The CJI stated that two factors demonstrated the transient character of Article 370. First, It was meant as an interim arrangement until the State Constituent Assembly was created, since there was a need for a legal bridge between Jammu Kashmir and India in the interim. This arrangement was only necessary if the Jammu Kashmir Constitution had been enacted and approved as part of India. Second, the clause was enacted in response to the state's unique circumstances, which included wartime situations. There were two legal paths to repealing Article 370 to begin on August 5, 2019. Then President Ramnath Kovind issued 272 amending Article 367 of the Constitution. Article 367 pertains to constitutional interpretation and the Constitution redefined Constituent Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir to mean Legislative Assembly of Jammu and Kashmir. Then Constitution 273 was issued requesting parliaments which had seized the power of the Jammu Kashmir Assembly approval to suggest that all clauses of the said Article 370 cease to be operative. While Justice Kaul upheld the procedure, CJI Chandrachud stated that the lengthy process of first amending the definition of the Jammu Kashmir Constituent Assembly was unnecessary. When the state's Constituent Assembly ceased, the President could permanently repeal Article 370. That brings us to the end of today's SGT Time Explainer. Thanks for watching.